Ludus, Vulpes.
Welcome to Ludus Vulpes. My name's Kirsty, and today we're here with John from Handiwork Games at Tabletop Scotland.
Hello.
How are you, John? You okay?
Yeah, good. We're having a really good day, actually. Really good.
Good.
Yeah.
It's quite busy. It's very hot in here.
It is.
We've still got voices at the moment.
Just
Tomorrow
about.
might be questionable.
Yep. Mine's starting to go.
Yeah. You're not the first. So, can you give me a bit of history about Handiwork Games?
Yeah, sure. So we set up Handiwork Games in January 2019.
Okay.
So, I'd moved on from my previous job. I used to be the creative director at a company called Cubicle 7 that made games like The One Ring and Doctor 2 Adventure in Time and Space. Yeah. And I moved on to set up my own games company. And we started with a game called Beowulf Age of Heroes, which is for 5th edition.
Wow.
And that is, we took that to Kickstarter, and that is 2-player D&D, basically. Yeah. 5th edition for one DM and 1 player.
Okay.
Set in sort of the mythical world of kind of early medieval Europe.
Yeah.
And you play a hero and you're fighting monsters and slaying them. It's quite well structured. The team have quite a lot of experience with 5e. A lot of us worked on Adventures in Middle-earth. That was the Tolkien 5e adaptation. So, we had a lot of knowledge there. Yeah. I'm an artist myself, so I led all the artwork on that. It's a very art-heavy book. Like everything we do is very art-heavy and visuals-led. So you
do all the art for all of it?
I do some of the art. We have Scott Purdy is our in-house artist. He does a lot of the artwork too. Paul Bourne, who I think is behind me, he's our graphic designer, and he does a lot of stuff too. So, for example, on some of our products, Paul does more, or Scott does more, or I do a lot. So we share the responsibility for all that stuff. Yes.
So, what are you currently promoting, sharing with the world right now?
We've just had copies of A State, which is our newest release, at the show. Yeah. We kickstarted that. Backers have got their copies in the UK or there. A lot of people have come to the booth and they've got it waiting for them at home. We've got a really tiny amount of stock here. I mean, we're nearly sold out actually at the show.
Yeah.
So A State this is a game that was made, we're from Falkirk, live in Falkirk in Scotland. Yeah. And this first came out in the early 2000s from a company called Contested Ground Studios, Paul, who I mentioned, our graphic designer, was half of that company.
Okay, yeah.
We've been friends with Malcolm, who's the other half, for years and years, and we always really, really liked A State, and we wanted to bring it back, which we did.
Nice.
It's shown up really quickly from the printers, which has all been a bit of a surprise.
Wow.
Our fulfillment partners that are sending it out to people moved really quickly on sending it, so I'm a bit boggled because it's all happening really, really fast, which is really nice, and we've nearly sold out of that, so that's really good. What else we've got here? We've just finished a Kickstarter for a project called Maskwitches of Forgotten Doggerland, which was my little wheeze. We got this sort of dummy book that I made for the Kickstarter. Now this involves the Midjourney AI has created all the artwork with me, and the whole I've been working on it for about 3 months. I was in the beta of Midjourney, and it's a real conversation between me as a visual artist and writer and game designer with the AI. It's quite interesting because at the moment I think everyone's feeling a little bit of tiredness, the amount of AI created artwork we're all seeing in our social media feeds. Yeah. For whatever reason, I wanted to use it in a redirected way for a very specific product or specific game and setting, and ended up doing Maskwitches of Forgotten Doggerland, which is about the territory that's now under the North Sea in the Mesolithic period, of all things, where people lived there before it was inundated with water. And went underneath the waves. Yeah. And in the game, you play the eponymous Maskwitches, who the hunter-gatherer communities of Forgotten Doggerland. They don't call it Doggerland; that's a modern name, but of the land there. When their communities run into problems, so evil spirits appear, and the Maskwitch's job is to fight those evil spirits. Yeah. So it's the spirits are the embodiment of the problems in the community. Oh. So the Maskwitch, initially they'll try and head it off at the pass so that a spirit isn't sort of unleashed. And then there's various stages of how they have to battle spirits. There's collaborative cave painting to be done. They'll make masks. They'll need to discover the spirit's name and so on. And I mean, we did this. I don't know if you can catch it. In the dummy book, I wanted to have a book made. I think it's really nice to be able to show back as the sort of form of a thing. And rather than print this with white pages, we just took
Yeah.
loads of the artwork
that's
and put it in. And actually, the real book will look something like this.
Yeah.
There'll be pages of text in there as well.
That's nice.
And yeah, that uses a
Wow.
game system called the Silver Road, which I wrote fairly recently.
Yeah.
A very light, minimalist storytelling
Beautiful
game.
artwork.
But yeah, no,
Really, really nice.
it's been a really weird thing. It's been very interesting working back and forth with the AI, and the
Yeah.
AI's taught me a lot about what the setting is, and then I go back to it and sort of
Yeah,
run through
yeah.
processes again.
Tweak,
But yeah,
tweak.
and that
No,
went
it's-
absolutely berserk on on Kickstarter. I was hoping for maybe they would reach about £1,000, and it just did 22,000 in a
Wow.
week, which we just did a week-long one. So well, we won't spend too long on this.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it did 22,000 in
Wow.
just under 22,000 in a
That's
week. So that was great,
amazing.
really good.
All
So we're
good,
working that.
all
I'll be very
positive.
busy on that. Yeah, in the
I was
next
gonna
couple of
say,
weeks.
What's next? But I guess you're going to be quite busy
Well,
with that.
a lot of Maskwitches.
Yeah.
What else have we got coming up? We've got another book that we now have on hand for Beowulf, is called The Trials of the Twin Seas, which is a book of adventures. We published a series of adventures in PDF for Beowulf, and we've collected them all in a beautiful book. So that will be coming very soon down the pipe. Late pledges are open for that just now, but that's all printed and with us now. So yeah.
That's brilliant. And there's lots to see on your stall today. Lots to pick up and treat yourselves.
Yeah.
So for people who can get to Tabletop Scotland, obviously they can treat themselves.
Yeah.
For those that can't, where can they pick up all these delicious goodies from?
So we run our own web shop, which is open all the time. It's at www.handiwork.games. And yeah, everything is there. You can mail order. We send worldwide.
brilliant.
And pretty much, yeah, everything's there. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And it's been really nice to get an insight behind the covers, shall we say.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.